Asking Alexandria have gone through a lot over the years, starting with their departure of their vocalist Danny Worsnop, who left and was replaced by Dennis Stoff. The album that they had been working on prior to that departure eventually became The Black. It was completely scrapped and rewritten and became what we now know. The Black is now a year old, and it's time to kind of revisit this album. When I originally took a look at it, I was kind of just starting to get into the band of Asking Alexandria. I really hadn't gone near them a lot. I kind of felt like they were a bit too on the poppy side of the metalcore things, and I just really didn't see much into them. As I've kind of grown a little bit, I really think I have explored them. I do like their album Reckless and Relentless and From Death to Destiny a lot, and that kind of has come later after listening to this album. In this album, I kind of mentioned that they were staying in their comfort zone a lot, and they really weren't trying to do much, and that it kind of felt a little bit flat. It didn't really do much to kind of excite and draw me into it, and I still kind of feel the same about this album. I mean, if anything, I think I was a little bit too nice to this album when I originally reviewed it. It does have some high points. There are some good tracks on here, like the opening track, Let It Sleep, or Undivided, for instance, or Circled by Wolves, or a couple tracks on there that I do actually enjoy, but the rest is kind of a bit of a mess, and it just doesn't really work a lot. There's a lot of songs that feel like they want to try to be heavy, but they don't quite make it there. They're kind of too sappy. The hooks on them are kind of generic and kind of feel like they've been there, done that. And it really doesn't help that Dennis Stoff's voice kind of just blends in on this album. It doesn't sound like anything. I mean, Danny Worsnop's voice at least was pretty charismatic, and it had some charm, but Dennis Stoff, particularly on this album, I mean, I have heard him at other points sounding better, but just on this album really just doesn't do anything here. It just feels so flat and bland on here, and a lot of the tracks that are meant to be these emotional power ballads just lack any sort of punch, and it's just it really just doesn't do much. Now, it's still debatable whether or not this is a step up from Danny Worsnop's kind of disinterested performance on From Death to Destiny, but I think overall Dennis Stoff was not the right pick for this band. I don't think he really fit too well with them. Listening back to their older albums, I kind of see that, and it just feels like there's really no ambition on this album. That's kind of what kills it. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad album, but in terms of Asking Alexandria, in terms of metalcore, it's really a skippable album. There's nothing to draw you here. There's nothing to keep you staying here. There's a couple of tracks that are okay, but overall, it really doesn't do much. And it's really going to be interesting to see what the band is going to do next, and to see if this is a continuation or if this is kind of just a misstep.